Hey guys, JPlay here, and today we're going to be playing Love. Love is a fairly simplistic sort of a platformer. It's one of those things which has a sort of deliberately retro aesthetic and isn't that complicated in terms of gameplay, but it is really solidly made. There are a number of versions. We're just going to be looking at the arcade modes because that's the main game mode as well. But there are a number of other things which you can do. So you can play the game through with unlimited lives. You can play the game through with one life. You can play the game through just on a timer. And I don't really know what remix mode is. I haven't really used it. I also thought there used to be less levels than there were last time I gave it a quick try. So I played this quite a while ago. Kind of gave up because I couldn't get above grade A, I think, for the overall run. But I wanted to show this game anyway. So basically, it's standard. It's a sterling start. I'm sure this life counter will do me proud. So it's a standard sort of platforming style affair, except you have this one added ability which is a little unconventional, and that is when I press the X button on my Xbox controller, you see it's left that little portal there. So you'll see if I run off the side here, I'll respawn at that portal. I'm obviously not going for a speed run or a personal best or anything. See, I was trying to demonstrate that by showing how little I care when I recklessly throw myself off the side. But yeah, the idea is, if you fancy and feel worried and know it's going to take a long time to get back if you fall and you're trying to rush all these sorts of things, you can drop these portals wherever you go, which I will probably be doing semi-frequently. You'll score it, so... I'm just going to... No! Crap, I meant to... Well, that went well. I meant to leave myself a portal up there and fall off the edge when I fell down. So I was going to say, you lose points for dying, you lose points for losing time, and you lose points for excessive use of portals, but it seems like I may need excessive use of portals, so I shan't be too timid about using them. This isn't going to be, obviously, a speed run or anything. It's just a quick run through to show the game, because I think it is really good fun, and definitely worth everyone trying. In this one, when I was going for the A grade, so you can get up to an A star grade, but when I was going for the A grade, I obviously learnt how to maneuver my way through this level a bit better, which is why I can just fall so recklessly. Although the spinning blades are new. Oh, pro skills there. Those spinning blade things are new as of, well, I played it a couple of nights ago for the first time in, I don't know, 6 months, a year? Curses. And I did notice a few changes. That among it. And also the things which I think used to be bonus levels now seem to be just main levels. So we'll get to those later this video. But yeah, it's a good game. As far as retro aesthetics go, it's okay. It looks like it's going for the same sort of visual simplicity and just one gimmick but do it well thing as VVV, which I did play on this channel. In fact, somewhere I have a video which got corrupted in editing, but of me getting the rest of those collectibles. After like hours of editing it, I realised it had got corrupted and sort of lost the will to do anything ever. But I should dig that out somewhere. But anyway, this visually, I think this is going for a similar sort of retro style, but it doesn't blow me away quite as much as the other game did. Nevertheless, it's a very good game. Yeah, just good fun, solid platforming. At this point, I know it fairly well, having tried to get that badge, which I was unsuccessful in for quite a long time. So it's one of those, I've got 18 achievements out of 19 and I don't think I'll ever get the 19th. You can also, just a little trick, there's a secret in here which if you are playing this through for the achievements, that is where it is. Kind of a hint because the bit to the side looks so unusual. And that's how I found it, but yeah, a solid game. All round, I think. Oh, shit. Just not solidly played by me. Definitely put down as many checkpoints as possible here because I have a tendency to get impatient. I won't put one down on everything because I want to look like I'm better than I am, even if I've already lost 11 lives. So there are only 16 levels and we're a few in. A bit reckless there, but... Oh, I am glad I put a portal down where I did. Oh, that was also quite close. So this is where the bit where I don't press jump is where, obviously. Now this is where I feel the game isn't quite its strongest because some of these things, you know, by the time you get halfway across here, you've proven that you can do it, you understand the mechanics, and it's just time at that point. I'm going to put portals down everywhere. Or checkpoints, you know what I mean. There we go. So again, I think this whole level is kind of one of the weaker ones in my opinion. Just because there's so much waiting. And if you are me, there's so much missing the platform. Which is also not ideal. That was fairly poor, I'll admit. I'll put down a checkpoint just in case I do something stupid there. Ah, come on, you can make it through. You can't make it through at all. I'm starting to worry that I may actually get to the point where we don't see the whole of this game because of my incompetence. If that's the case, I'll just... I will just have another run and then just add the ending on and pretend that I did everything fine all along. Oh. Bit overzealous there. Almost caused a problem. But yeah, solid game, but just a few levels, and I think this is another one of them where it just feels a bit slow. You feel like your momentum is getting lost because of so much bouncing and waiting and all this sort of jazz. I'm timing these so that if there's a big gap, I am bouncing from the top of one arc, one cycle, I guess. With these, you don't have to be as careful. You can just jump right off the bottom there. That's the preferred method for crossing, really. Ah, curses. Also botheration. Sorry. trick there is to not jump right at the top because you're always going to hit the ceiling. Anyway, this is another... it's quite fun the first time you play it because you've got to figure out where you've got to jump when and bounce and all that sort of thing. But there is a bit of waiting, which we might as well do at the start here for things to get into place. You can sort of circumvent part of that. I mean, if you don't have the patience to wait and just want to make it more difficult for yourself, you can do that by going underneath that first spike block. Why you would want to do that, I have no idea. But yeah, I'm glad I put a portal down there because it turns out I'm impatient as balls. So in theory you bounce on these chaps, but as you probably noticed, the optimal strategy is to instead run into the spikes. Or when they move into you, it acts as if you bounced on them. So you can just sort of, yeah, you can use that to thrust yourself upwards at the right time. We are now obviously in a crocodile's mouth, because that's the most logical next step after whatever the hell everything else was. I think there was something which looked like a shoe at some point. I'm trying to take this extra carefully so I look like a wimp, but not a clumsy one. Timing couldn't have been much better on that. Bot wing. I find that when I make a mistake on one part, I get an instant mental block on it, even if it's something which normally doesn't cause that many problems. You see, I did the little jump there, little baby jump. That's what happens if you are holding A when you hit the next level. When you hit a bouncy, hoppery, whatever they're supposed to be, one of those little spring platforms. So, I was going to say, so I'm just about to demonstrate why that might be good here. If I can't seem to do it there. I wanted to have another chance to show you the thing. You can adjust how high you jump, which is quite useful on the section where you remember where I was bouncing up and waiting loads for the bouncing panels to move across the level, so that I would be able to just jump ahead of them and not have to worry so much about those nuisances, like the spike blocks being the nuisances. Sorry, I'm losing track there as I try and not do stupid things like that. Yeah, so you can sort of dampen your bounce, and that helps if you do end up accidentally going underneath the spike block. So a lot of timing in this game, but more than I realised actually. More than I realised actually until I came to record it just now. But it doesn't feel such a nuisance in this as in a couple of the levels, where it really does feel just like an inconvenience almost. Let's set a respawn point up there just in case I do something stupid, but it should be fairly hard to mess up at this point. And this used to be where the game ended, if I recall aright. But now all this stuff, which was previously an optional bonus level thing, seems to have been added to the main game. Meant to do that. That works a lot better than the jump I was going for there. And then again, these will thrust you up into the air as soon as you touch them, so leave it as late as possible. Too impatient there, if anything. And by if anything, definitely too impatient there. I don't want to spend too long just recording a little stick man not moving at all here, though. So I'm going to have to man up and actually move sometime soon, surely. I also wish I hadn't put my microphone right in front of my screen. I find it quite off-putting when I'm looking for things coming from beneath. Does that excuse sound plausible? That's what I'm going with, at least. Yeah, it's all my microphone's fault. Otherwise, I'd be completely destroying this game. So this one, you have to sort of... you have to let the water hit you once, just to let it know that you don't hate it, you don't resent it, and you're very glad that you're allowed to play this game. What I was going to say is you have to stand on the right-hand side so that you can jump over that spike. I have never hit any of these other white bits before, so I was going to say I don't know if they're dangerous. They definitely are. I'm just controlling these by moving right or left, same as usual. Oh, there we go. And then I just need to get the... Oh. I need to get when this white light is in the middle so that I fall into the area I want to be in. Because I can't point at my screen, so that won't really work. But basically there are those 3 holes near the middle of the screen. If you walk into the wrong one... can I go back there? I wanted to explain something else. If you walk into the wrong one, you fall into somewhere with just spikes, which there's no way out of. This level I'm not very familiar with. And when I did have a practice run, I rather struggled. Obviously, with a lot of the other stuff, I have kind of learned the patterns by now. It's obviously fairly distressing that YOLO mode will now include these. Oh, it's YOLO mode I didn't get, not the highest ranking, I think. YOLO mode will now include these levels, so I'll probably never get it. For God's sake. Right. Gonna pretend I did that on purpose. Oh, that was the last level. So, there you see I got a sterling grade of a C+. I promise you I have got an A before. But I don't think those last few levels were in it at the time, so I'm not sure how much it actually counts for. Either way, basically, that's the game in its entirety. I just wanted to run through it once quickly. I'm not going to do the replaying it and going for an optimal run because I will probably never be good enough at that sort of thing. I'm sure you can find very good speedruns, which would show me up anyway, and all it would end up being is very tiresome in terms of the actual video. So, for now, I have been JPlay. This has been Love, which again I would thoroughly recommend. And thanks for watching.